Hey, it's Greg McClure here. I'm excited for today's video because I'm hearing lots of stuff about the market today. It's a challenging market. It's a collapsing market. I don't even know what's going on in the market. And I think if you're hearing those things from people, you're hearing it from people that have just never seen this before. I'm excited to share a few things with you today. Number one, I'm going to share some perspective on this market versus a very similar market not too long ago. Also, I'm going to give you 3 conversations that you should have today with buyers and sellers and your preferred lender. So first of all, let's just talk about a little bit about perspective in the market. What we've seen is rapidly appreciating homes along with rapidly appreciating interest rates. And that's kind of put a little bit of a stall on the market and people are going, I don't even know what to do. So I wanted to share, first of all, that perspective. So I went back and looked at April 2011 versus April of 2022. Okay, April 2011, we sold 30% more homes than we did in April 2022. Now, here's the interesting thing. In April of 2011, our interest rates were about 4.89 compared to what they are today at about 4.9. Now, that's according to Freddie Mac, and that's an average. I get that, but the interest rates were about the same. The biggest difference was that period of time was not preceded by 3 or 4 years of extremely low interest rates, really artificially low interest rates. So what happened is the last 3 years, we've had these low interest rates, so people have just become accustomed. They think it's the norm. Well, when interest rates were kind of readjusted to help hedge inflation, people said, oh my gosh, interest rates are crazy, and they kind of forgot what it was, or they just never saw it before when they were about the same. So as I said, in 2011, April of 2011, we sold 30% more homes. Here's the interesting thing too. The average days on the market back then was about 94 days compared to 2 or 3 weeks today. So I'm hearing from agents that are working with sellers, my seller's mad because my house hasn't sold in 2 or 3 weeks. The conversation, number one, conversation you should be having with sellers, setting appropriate expectation. The idea of a house selling in 24 or 48 hours is not a normal market. So what we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years has not been normal, but it's been normalized because that's all we see, and we kind of tend to forget how things were. So in 2011, April 2011, when we sold 30% more houses, days on the market were 4 to 5 times higher than they were today. Interest rates were about the same. The conversation with the seller is setting the expectations. If you price your home correctly, it will still sell. And what I mean by that is if your next door neighbor sold their house 3 months ago for $700,000, maybe your house is worth $700,000. Not $50,000 over what your neighbor sold, but that's been the expectation. That's been normalized over the past 2 or 3 years. That's just not a normal market. What we're seeing today is heading back towards that normal market. Other expectations to set with the seller, credits, repair requests, and working with the buyer to get the home sold is the norm. What we've seen over the past 2 or 3 years with non-contingent offers, buyer or sellers not cooperating at all, is not the norm. So we're heading back into that normalized market, and we need to share that information, set those expectations. The other conversation that you need to be having right now is with buyers. So buyers see this interest rate, this hike in interest rate hovering around 5% right now, and they think, oh my gosh, interest rates are out of control. Really, they're not. As I've said, they've just been artificially low over the past few years, and we tend to forget what they were like beforehand. So let's go back again to April 2011. Almost the same interest rate, but we were selling more houses. So buyers at that point understood what the interest rates were because they weren't preceded for several years of artificially low interest rates. The other thing is there was other loans being used. For the last 2 or 3 years, it was a 30-year fixed. Why? Because 2 to 3% interest rate? Why would you even consider anything else? Back in 2011, we did things like adjustable rate mortgages, 5-1 ARM, 10-1 ARMs. We bought down rates. Some people opted for interest only, and these are not bad loans. They helped offset the interest rates. And we did those as a normal part of our practice. You're not seeing them so much today because a lot of people in this industry, realtors and lenders, have been in it less than 10 years. So if you've been in it less than 10 years, you've never really seen that. The other conversation with buyers is what other alternative programs are available today that might help offset these high interest rates. The third conversation with your lending partner. I suggest that you reach out to your lending partner, and really your favorite lending partner should be reaching out to you and saying, hey, here's some alternative loan programs that might still be working for your buyers. The programs that I just discussed is exactly what I'm talking about. So for a buyer right now, think about this. Inventory's going up a little bit. That's a good thing for the buyer. They have more choices. They're staying on the market a little bit longer, so buyers have a chance to breathe. Offers like non-contingent offers or no inspection offers are gonna start going away. Sellers are gonna start realizing that they have to work with buyers to close that transaction. So those are all benefits to buyers. Sellers more open to working with them, and alternative lending programs that make a lot of sense for that particular buyer. So when you hear that it's a challenging market or the market is falling or collapsing, the market is normalizing. We should be celebrating this because it's creating a scenario where sellers are still getting fantastic prices for their homes, but buyers are gonna have more opportunity as soon as we realize that the last 3 years was not normal. We just normalized it. Really, what we're seeing now is more of a normalized market, normalized interest rates, heading towards more normalized inventory and supply and demand. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope this video gave you some talking points that you can share with your buyers, your sellers, and open up those conversations with your lenders. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again, and talk to you real soon.